The European Union faces an economic catastrophe if it fails to strike a trade agreement with Britain, Germany's most powerful business lobby has warned. The BDI, or Federation of German Industry, claimed progress towards a future relationship deal has been completely inadequate. Its managing director Joachim Lang now fears there is a real chance the post-Brexit transition period will expire on December 31, 2020, without an agreement in place. After the third negotiating round started yesterday, he warned, it's a realistic prospect that the lead negotiators will again be left empty-handed at the end of this week. The coronavirus crisis has already cost very many jobs across Europe. If the Brexit transition phase expires without an agreement at the end of the year, it would turn an already difficult situation into a catastrophe. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has ruled out delaying the trade negotiations beyond the end of the year. Downing Street fears remaining in the EU's single market and customs union would mean being locked into most significant legislative overhaul in its history as it recovers from the coronavirus pandemic. Brussels is frustrated by the deadlock talks, with senior officials, including Michel Barnier, the EU's chief negotiator, accusing Britain of deliberately stalling. Mr. Lang angrily hit out at the tactics of the British team led by David Frost, the Prime Minister's lead negotiator. He said, the tactics of the British government are not appropriate considering the seriousness of the situation. Our companies need a clear willingness from London to solve existing problems together. The British government must take into account the legitimate concerns of industry on both sides of the Channel. If the two sides do not strike up a deal, Britain will leave the transition period and trade with the EU on World Trade Organization terms. Negotiations have got off to a faltering start because of the coronavirus pandemic. 2 rounds of face-to-face talks have been cancelled and fresh discussions are held over internet video conferencing. Both sides have refused to move from their initial positions, with fundamental differences remaining in their plans for fisheries and a regulatory level playing field. He said, "We need tangible progress across all areas, including open and fair competition standards. We are negotiating on behalf of the entire EU. There must be a proper balance of rights and obligations." This is the second of 3 negotiating rounds before a summer showdown between Mr. Johnson and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. British officials believe a political intervention could help move along the stalled talks. But EU diplomats have said they will not let the Prime Minister sway their negotiating position.